In the fog-shrouded village of Eldridge, where the sea whispered secrets to the cliffs and the nights stretched like endless shadows, lived an old woman named Elara. She was the lantern keeper, tasked since childhood with lighting the 100 lanterns that lined the treacherous path to the harbor. But one autumn eve, as gales howled and rain lashed the coast like vengeful spirits, a rogue wave shattered the lighthouse tower. The great beacon atop it, Elara's proudest charge, tumbled into the abyss, plunging the path into chaos. Ships wrecked on jagged rocks. Families wept for lost sons and husbands. The village turned on Elara, their whispers turning to shouts. "Your light failed us. You're too old, too frail. Let the young take over." That night, alone in her cottage, she stared at the flickering candle on her table, the last light she had left. "What good is a keeper without lanterns to keep?" she murmured. Dawn broke gray and unforgiving. Elara rose, not with resolve, but with a quiet ache. She gathered what remained, a coil of rope, a satchel of oil, and her lantern snuffer, etched with the words her grandmother had carved. "Light the way, or the way lights you." The path to the shattered tower was a nightmare. Slick stones, whipping winds, waves that clawed at her ankles. Halfway up, a gust snuffed her lantern. Darkness swallowed her whole. She stumbled, knee cracking against rock, pain blooming like fire. Tears mixed with rain on her face. "I can't," she gasped. "I'm done." The sea roared its agreement, urging her to turn back. But in that void, a memory flickered. Her grandmother, bent and weathered, lighting the first lantern after a storm that claimed half the fleet. "The dark doesn't care if you're young or old, Elara," she'd said. "It only yields to those who refuse to let it win. One flame at a time. Yours first." Elara struck a match. The tiny spark danced, defiant, then caught the wick. A single point of gold pierced the gloom. She held it high, not as a beacon for others, but for herself. Step by step, flame guiding her feet, she pressed on. At the tower's ruins, she lashed ropes to the jagged remnants and climbed, her lantern swinging like a heartbeat. She poured her oil, lit scrap after scrap of sailcloth and wood until a makeshift blaze roared to life. It wasn't the old beacon's glory, but it burned true, cutting through the fog like a vow. Word spread. Fishermen docked safely. Travelers whispered of the silver flame that saved the night. Tomas arrived at dawn, eyes wide, not with scorn, but awe. "Teach me," he said, "not to replace you, to stand beside." Years later, when Elara's hands finally trembled too much to strike a match, the village didn't mourn her passing as a failure. They lit 1,000 lanterns in her name. And on stormy nights, when doubt fogged the young keeper's resolve, they'd remember. The greatest light isn't the one that banishes all shadows. It's the spark you kindle within when the world begs you to quit. As the last echoes of Elara's story fade, like the dying embers of a hearth fire on a winter's night, lean in close, my friend. Picture this. You're standing on that same fog-choked cliff, the sea snarling below, the wind clawing at your resolve. The world has shattered your tower, hasn't it? Blamed you for the storm, called you too old, too small, too broken to matter. And in that hollow ache, when doubt whispers it's time to turn back, remember her. Elara didn't conquer the darkness with some grand, unyielding blaze. No, she struck a match in the void, for herself first. One trembling flame against the roar. That's the secret, the quiet revolution. Your light isn't meant to save the fleet or silence the gales. It's lights to guide your own feet when the path vanishes. Kindle it now, in the mess of your life, when quitting feels like mercy. Fan that spark with the stories of those who've gone before, the grandmothers, the quiet warriors etched in your bones. Let it burn through the lies that say you're not enough, and watch what happens. One flame calls to another. Yours will draw the lost ships home, like the eyes of the Thomas in your world, and weave a legacy brighter than any beacon. The shadows, they'll flee not because you banished them, but because you refused to bow. So rise, strike your match. The night is vast, but your fire, it's eternal. What's your first step? Take it. The world is waiting to follow.